always play ball, never AWOL. Oh, they mad now, cause they lost. That's on you, not on me. Lately, my phone on D&D. I try to get, I try to get, I try to get some peace.
What is the deal? What is the deal? Give me a Lima Charlie if you can hear me loud and clear, man. Just wanted to do a quick live stream. Just talk about some EDC for dummy type of stuff, okay? I get it. I understand that some of us are not new to the EDC game. This is not our first rodeo. We totally understand what's going on. You know, I'm not even going to pretend like everybody's at the same level when it comes to EDC stuff, but sometimes I think to myself, like, you know, there are people who actually have no clue when it comes to just like some of the simple things that, yeah, we do have a difference when it comes to everyday carry pocket knives versus like folding knives, and which could be beneficial for both, and like why would you want to carry one or the other. So I thought, you know what I'm saying, I could talk about that stuff for a little bit, man. Of course, want to kick it here, man. I got this new like lightsaber type of torch. Oh my god, this thing is real life. Yeah, okay, let's see, can we turn that down? Oh no, we can turn it up. That's freaking powerful. I don't know if I'll use this for lighting cigars. This almost seems dangerous. Like, godly, I think I would completely destroy my my stick with this thing. It's pretty cool device. I see what they're going for here with a lightsaber torch, but I think I might use this for like maybe lighting charcoal in my grill. I'm a little bit nervous to put this anywhere near my dreads, anywhere near a cigar of mine. So we'll just go with the actuals, the lighter that's actually in my pocket that I normally keep at the ready at all times. And so, of course, we talked about my full EDC. We're about to have a whole EDC load out here soon. It says that's a weapon. Yeah, I totally was thinking to myself, I got the little Zippo here with a butane insert. This one here is all the cities. Well, not all the cities, but a lot of cities of Texas. It has a Thunderbird insert. That's what that little T symbol is for. So just to kind of give you an insight of what I'm using for that. But that's like a whole weapon. Like, I think I would destroy my freaking stick trying to use that thing versus just using a traditional lighter or some stuff like that. Let me know what y'all got in your pockets. Are you carrying a fixie today? Are you carrying a folder today, the day before the Super Bowl? A lot of y'all folks are preparing for stuff. You're hanging up ribbons. You're cutting paracord. You're cutting rope. You're getting stuff for different parties and getting your chips and your Scooby snacks together. I know everybody's getting ready for the big day. What are you doing for the Super Bowl? Are you going to be hanging out, rocking out with the goddamn cock out, freaking just hanging out with the boys? Hey, listen, whatever you want to do, just have a good time. Let me see this freaking lightsaber again. This shit was freaking, is it dead? Is it done? Did I use all the butane? Nope, it's not done. Godly. Oh my gosh. Who thought this was a fantastic? Okay, it's calming down a little bit. I think it's done. I think I blew my load. Oh, it's turning red. Okay, that's kind of dope. That's kind of dope. That's kind of dope. I'll use a little bit on the stick. There we go. That's a little bit more calm. It's red. You see that? It's freaking red. Like it's supposed to be like a lightsaber. That's the point of this torch, to be like a lightsaber. I mean, it's a nice talking piece. I might take that with a Super Bowl party with me tomorrow. We'll see how it goes. Overall, the thing is a little bit freaking dangerous, though. The difference between a fixed blade and a folder, why would you want to carry one or the over the other? I tend to kind of mix up the different things that I carry, you know, and I assume because I do EDC stuff, prep stuff, survival stuff, man cave stuff, that people just know what the hell I'm talking about all the time when it comes between the two. That's a boneheaded assumption to make. Because just because I carry it all the time, I talk about it all the time, doesn't mean that you know the benefits for carrying one over the other. So just before I jump into the which one might be better, I'm going to be having a Drew Estates. This is a Robusto factory smoke. They make different versions of the factory smoke. I like the Robusto because it barely has any flavor, doesn't freaking completely drown out the flavor notes. They have different ones that you might want to try out and all that good stuff. We'll talk about what I'm actually carrying in my pocket today. We're carrying the Hogue Deca Made in America 20 CV. This is for the tactical bros, okay? Hogue Deca, it has this like cross hatch pattern G10 scales. This is great if your hands are sweaty, bloody, cold. I like G10 scales for that type of stuff. I know some of y'all are like really big into the titanium and stuff like that, but you get you something like this with a nice modified Warncliffe, the nice Warney type of blade. It's just an enjoyment to use. It being CPM, the Crucible 20 CV steel, made in America steel, with a great heat treatment. It just makes something I don't have to sharpen as often, which is a fantastic thing. I normally sharpen my knives during NASCAR races. Well, NASCAR is out until Daytona 500, which is I think it's coming up soon. What's going on with that? That's when I normally like to sharpen. But that's the knife that's in the pocket. So why would you want to carry those, right? You know, why would you want? Benjamin says that those sticks kick out a ton of smoke. Yeah, they do. And sometimes I'm all about like sticks that just produce tons of smoke for me. Like I desire that, if that makes sense. And it really just depends. I don't like the fact though, when I run my mouth a whole lot, these things do kind of snuff out. So I do find myself having to relight these more often than not, but you know, it is what it is. Freaking first world problems, are they not, right? Fixed blade versus a folder. First off, what is the difference between the two? I want to just give you bacon, lettuce, and tomatoes. A fixed blade knife is a knife that does not fold or retract, okay? That means that it remains exposed when sheath in its scabbard, or if it's sheath or whatever. So the blade stays exposed unless you sheath it. Fixed blades knives offer a lot of different advantages. They're really resilient if you're going to be using them for like self-defense, if you're going to be using them for camping or hunting or stuff like that. So that's a fixed blade knife, and we'll dive more deep into that here in a second. And then a folding knife, just like bacon, lettuce, and tomatoes kind of right description of the two. A folding knife pivots on a hinge or a joint, whatever one it may have, and it folds into a handle when it's not in use. So that's like the basics difference between the two. There's some advantages to folding knives as well. A lot of times in the EDC community, we like laser focus on folding knives because they're convenient, they fit in the pocket, we like them, but you may decide that one is better for you than another, or you may be trying to decide if you should get a fixed blade knife for the first time because you probably already got a ton of them. You probably already got a ton of folders, right? So one thing I will say is I'm a big fan of carrying fixies if I'm going to be out in the field, if I'm going to be hunting, or if I want it specifically for self-defense purposes. Fixed blade is kind of like my go-to, right? But also, you know, there are downfalls and differences between the two. So one thing is I got a couple of folders here that we'll talk about the differences between them and why you might want to carry some difference from another. So if I was going like straight self-defense poke mode, I would think about carrying something like the Sock P Dagger by Benchmade. Now this is technically a fixed blade knife. It does have its own sheath. This is 440C steel. Benchmade, it does have partial serrations. And this is something that's good for poking. It is good. You can use it in different self-defense mechanisms. You can use it for common cutting tasks, but you can get up on the blade really well. And so you can try to use it for slicing. Because it is hole down here, you can actually leave a finger inserted in the hole when you have it out of its sheath. But this is a fixed blade knife, one full piece of metal. And unless you sheath this thing, then the blade is always exposed and it could be pretty dangerous. This is a pretty unique knife, something that I would carry if I know if it's going to be in an area. Maybe I'm going to a place where I can't carry a boomstick, right? There may be regulations where you can't carry boomsticks where you go. Maybe you're going to a parade or a church or a school, right? Like in Texas, you can carry a boomstick on school property, as in like the sidewalk, but you can't carry a boomstick into a school in Texas. So, but you can carry a folding knife. So sometimes you got to think about like, do I need to disarm myself, etc., etc. Super unique looking folder. Might be used really great for strength and durability. Fixed blades are typically thicker. They're more robust. I hate the word robust, but I'm going to use it in this instance. You know, fixed blade knives are usually more robust than folding knives. They can handle heavy duty tasks in hard use without breaking. I know y'all saw Joe X videos, right? This is one of my favorite fixies. Now this one here is by Montana Knife Company. This is pricey, boys. Mirrored edge finish, fantastic sheath. This is called the MKC Speed Go 2.0. I also have the Blackfoot 2.0. This is also another fixed blade knife, a full tang knife, meaning that one piece of stainless steel throughout the entire knife. This knife is wrapped in paracord for the scales instead of exposing the actual steel. This could be useful for maintaining a grip in slippery environments, but also you can take this paracord off in an emergency situation and use it for some type of survival. This is a pricey boy, being Magna Cut being a type of blade steel, which we'll talk about in another video. But the biggest thing with this type of knife is that you can use this in a number of ways, especially in a hard use scenario. Maybe you're going to use this to start processing or skinning an animal. Maybe also you can use it for self-defense. But you also need to think about legal restrictions when it comes to fixed blade knives. Fixed blade knives are illegal to carry in some areas due to their size and the perception that they're more aggressive than other weapons. You have to check your local municipality to figure out if you can carry a fixie. Don't listen to some random YouTuber with dreadlocks, okay? I'm not the guy to let you know if you can carry this. No, it's not pre-recorded. I see WWDF is here. Appreciate you kicking the goddamn door in. We got, yeah, I see y'all's comments, man. I get to those here in a second. But, you know, so you may have to think about if you need to carry something smaller, then I do have a couple of suggestions for like something that's a little bit smaller that might still be permissible. And these are two of my favorite small fixies. We'll start off here with the Boker Scalpel. The Boker Scalpel is my cardboard monster, okay? This is still technically a fixie, full tang, but it's not that thick. It's a very small, thin knife. This is a D2 steel knife. I use this as a cardboard breakdown monster, opening packages. This is the type of knife that can live in the armrest of my truck, and it can also live on my desk. And if I don't want to gunk up the knife in my pocket, right, I'll just gunk this one up. I don't care. And that's what I really like using this for, the versatility of it. You can use it for stabbing, slashing, chopping. Not this one. You're not going to use this for chopping, but you know, whatever else you might want to use it for. But hey, one thing I want to tell you is that fixed blade knives do have concealment challenges, okay? Sometimes it's hard to conceal a fixed blade a little bit more. Here's one that's going to be relatively pretty easy to conceal. This is called the Tops Knives Ferret. It's a neck knife. So you can use these little speed holes here in the actual sheath to mount this to a necklace and wear this around your neck if you want to. It doesn't have any way to attach to a belt. You could find a way to wrap some paracord around it to make that work as well. But the actual Ferret is a little small, little wee baby, still full tang all the way throughout. G10 scales, which feel really good in the hand. Really small knife. This might be legal in your area, especially coming in, I think it's about 2.5 inches. Don't quote me on that. Always look it up. Links in the description if you want to check any of these out, because they might be helpful for you. But as much as I like fixed blade knives, sometimes they are bulkier, they're heavier, they're harder to use than a folder. Riley is here saying, finally I got to catch a live stream. What up, man? Mater's Workshop saying hello. What up, man? Appreciate you kicking the goddamn door in. Mater, is that from Cars? My sons literally they're either finishing up the movie Cars right now, or they are in the middle of watching it. I turned on Cars about an hour or in some change ago so they can watch it, and I'm assuming it's still on and they're not freaking running Mrs. X ragged. Rudy is here as well saying, let's see that nut sack in speed sling, sir. You want to see my nut sack? Oh my gosh, make sure that you freaking double tap, like this video, all that good stuff as well, okay?
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
Giving me a second to freaking get this thing relit real quick, man. Let me just freaking get this lit real quick. Ladies, keep them entertained. I got to get this going real quick. I appreciate y'all kicking the goddamn door in, man. Push me back out there into the algorithm. I need a reason to get my shit lit real quick, man. Man, oh man, I'm telling you, plenty of smoke on this goddamn stick, as I mentioned before. Make sure you hit that goddamn like button, man. Put me in the algorithm as we continue to talk about fixed blades versus folders. Say hello to the Marine X dancers and Bouncing Betty on top of my freaking head. Ladies, get off that goddamn pole. Get off that pole before you hurt yourselves. I might need you later on. But anyways, okay. Gave me a second to freaking get that thing lit, get it going real quick and all of that good stuff. Riley says that thing is dope. Man, this freaking lightsaber thing is, I'm telling you, man, it's a dangerous thing. Okay, it's way more calm now. This lightsaber freaking thing. Okay, it's a lot more calm than it was earlier. I will give them that. Okay, I can appreciate that. Let's see. Benjamin says those sticks kick out a ton of smoke. If you like a lot of smoke, if you like a decent draw, then yeah, I do recommend the Robustos, specifically by Drew Estate, the factory smokes, the Robusto, not the other ones. This is the one I like to kind of fuck with, but it's up to you, man. It's going to be up to you which one you decide to rock with. Let me know what you guys think about the fixed blade as we get ready to move on to the folders. Let me know what you think about the fixed blades. How likely is that the average knife buyer will be able to use a knife for self-defense? Well, that's a good question. And it's highly unlikely, WDF. Highly unlikely. It's really going to be for those scenarios where you can't carry a folder or where you can't carry your CCW, you can't carry your boomstick, right? For instance, in Texas, if you're not licensed, sometimes you can't take your boomstick to the State Fair of Texas, but you can take a fixed blade knife. There's a lot of fist fights that happen at the State Fair of Texas. There's a bunch of knucklehead, highly testosterone knuckleheads at the State Fair of Texas. There might be a place where you might need to do it or something like that. Okay. So, use them or lose them says knives are emergency effort to aid in self-preservation. That could be one reason to have a fixie. That's 100% a reason to have a fixie. I use the word fixie, which is the same thing as a fixed blade knife for me when I use that type of terminology. Buck Nighthawk is the favorite by Buddha. Ooh, I like that Buck Nighthawk. We got to hit the gritty on those boys. Where did you purchase that lightsaber torch, says Joe. You know what, Joe? I was sent it by the company. I told them I would feature it on a live stream, but I wanted to test it out a little bit more. Once I figure out if the thing is completely dangerous, I don't want to recommend something to you, Joe, that's gonna freaking it could burn your house down, but like blow up in your hand or some crazy shit like that. Then we would go for that and all that good stuff. Now, why would you might want to carry a folding knife over a fixer, or maybe as a complement to a fixie? Who do I have in the Super Bowl? Let me tell you, I am so unenthused with professional sports except for NASCAR. I don't waste a lot of energy on professional sports. So this is going to sound like a lame thing to say, but I'm rooting that no one gets hurt. No one ends their careers. People got families to feed. That's all I care about. So I will watch the Super Bowl, but I'm the guy that gets excited for touchdowns. Any one of those freaking swinging dicks can freaking make a touchdown, okay? And it makes me overall, I'm just like, oh, that was exciting. So it may be seen where I'm at the Super Bowl party like, oh, man, that was a fantastic catch. Oh, my God, did he just make that goddamn throw? Did he just make the fade route? That's how I am, okay? So, it'd be like this sometimes. Shocked about the knucklehead, says Jesse. Yeah, man. And the Guardian 3, by Riley says, by Bradford, it has me shopping for smaller fixed blade knives. Yeah, I like the Guardian 3 as well. I didn't bring it out here to talk about today, but I did bring a couple of folders to talk about. And a folding knife, as I talked about earlier, has a pivot or a hinge that allows for the knife to fold back into its handle, or scales is what we like to call it in the knife community when it's not in use. Folding knives provide some advantages over fixed blade knives, and they also can make some advantages in everyday life, in my opinion. So like a folding knife has a lot of advantages that we don't think of. First off, they can usually get down, be a little bit more compact than a fixie. They're usually very compact, lightweight. They're not full tang, unfortunately, but they can get down to such a small size. And the blade, when you can keep the blades away from yourself unsheathed, they're usually a little bit more safe in theory, and they can be carried a little bit more discreetly. This is a Buck 112 Pro. This has my micarta scales on it, and it folds neatly into the back. This is a lock back type knife, so it's a pretty strong locking mechanism, and you can almost treat this like a fixie, but it's not a fixie. Okay, But I like the fact that this thing gets down nice and small. It's easy to conceal. It does have pretty good blade steel on it at S30VN. So a good American-made steel, a very good knife by Buck. American-made knife, American-made company. And, of course, they make some of their knives in China, but most of the knives for Buck are made in the USA. They do have a few Chinese-made knives. But I like the fact that it gets down to be so discreet and just very, very easy to carry. Now, some folders aren't that freaking discreet. Here's the O Knife Heron L1. I have it in OD green. They make it also in black. G10 scales on this thing are CNC machined, and they feel really, really good. I like the way these scales feel. This is a big old monster, though. This is a big monster of a folding pocket knife. It does have a little bit of utility, but of course it's not full tang, as I mentioned earlier, right? And this one here, I like the fact that this one, it's a high-end it's a coated D2 knife. So this is going to be a knife where you may have to sharpen it a little bit more often than something like the CPM-S, the 20CV that I showed earlier, but it's still a good blade still to have, especially for everyday tasks. This is a great talking piece, type of knife I take over to a buddy's house, pull out, and he's like, man, what the hell is that thing? So, you know, it does have a liner lock. You can use a flipper to open it, or you can use the speed hole, the thumb hole to open it in different scenarios. So if you want to open it with your index finger, you can do that, or you can open it with your thumb if you want to do that, or you can just simply use the flipper in the very back of the knife. So different ways to open it, a lot of versatility in a folder, and it still can be basically hidden and packed down. It even stands up on its own because it's such a chunky boy. But you know, even if you don't want something like that, you got to think, one thing you got to think about is that folding knives are often more legal in your area than a fixie. This is the Benchmade North Fork, and I like this. This has wood scales on it. This one actually has a little bit of topo design that I did with my laser engraver, so a little customizable that you can do. Benchmade's, you know, Benchmade tax is real life. This has their axis lock. A great knife, one of my favorite Benchmades to carry. And I like this because I like to take this with me when I'm going hunting. It's very small. It's fantastic to be able to use in a kill kit. If I want to use just to cut out a bladder and then take the kill back to my actual place and finish processing wherever I'm at. But it's nice. It's small. It's less than 4 inches. This one is about, I think this one's like 2.8 inches, maybe 3 inches for the blade. It's illegal to carry. I mean, I'm in Texas. I can carry all sorts of stuff, but this might give you more options in your area, right? And then, of course, a lot of times we got to think about the fidget factor when it comes to folding knives. This is the Benchmade bailout. This has aluminum scales. It does have a little glass breaker, which is completely useless. But, you know, of course, it makes you feel good to have it on yourself. But this one has the M4 steel. This is a great knife as well. This has a modified warning, which is great for like getting into zip ties and getting to like nimble places and using the very end of that blade to cut that off. But they are great when it comes to, I would say the biggest advantage is overfolders are compact, lightweight, easy to conceal, and they're usually more legal than a fixie. But I will say this, there are some disadvantages to a folding knife, okay? There are some disadvantages to a folding knife. There's normally slower deployment, okay? So the knife in my pocket today, as mentioned, is the Hogue Deca. Sometimes I do have miscues on a folding knife. You saw me with that Heron earlier. I have miscues with that, right? Whereas when I pull out my fixies, I just pull it out the sheath and I'm ready to rock. I usually don't have the issue with slower deployments on a fixed blade knife. Folding a blade out of its handle or its scales requires an extra step. Sometimes you can miss that step. Sometimes the pivot's not working as well as it should, etc., etc. Also, folding knives have one more point of failure. The pivot or the joint is a point of failure on a folding knife. Okay. Also, just be kind of real. Folding knives are generally less durable than a fixed blade knife. You're not going to be whomping with a log on the back of a folding knife unless you want to tear that pivot up. You may want to bump out some bolts, stuff like that. You might mess up the bearings inside of the knife. So as much as we may like them, you know, it's a harder thing to sell when it comes to being durable. And then there's a limited range of use. And I would say that for like slashing and stabbing motions, Like if you're using a fixed blade knife for a self-defense type of knife, stabbing, slashing usually has a little bit more limitation because of the scales and they're not full tang. As I mentioned earlier, if I had this sock P knife and I wanted to use this sock P knife for self-defense, once this thing is unsheathed, there's tons of knife here for using for self-defense. There's no scales getting in the way. And if I needed to, this can go fully into a person and there's nothing getting in the way. So it's just something to think about whenever you may want to make a decision for which one that you may want to carry. I have different use cases for both. It just depends on what I got going on. Sometimes it's just about my mood. So for the last week or so, I've been heavily carrying my folders. But sometimes it's just in the mood. If I'm going to be hunting or something like that, then it may just be something I might need to check out over. Steve says, I missed what you said. The larger fixed blade on your desk was. Can you show it again? The larger fixed blade on my desk is, I think you're talking about the Montana Knife Company. This is the Speed Goat. Link is in the description if you want to check it out. I think this is sold out, but you can always just go check it out and check out the specs of it and all that type of stuff. This is a 3.5 inch knife. This might be legal in your area. Now, here's the thing about this knife, okay? This knife fully deployed is almost the same size as my bailout, okay? So if we look at my bailout here, actually I think it is, yeah, it's smaller than my bailout, fully deployed. So my bailout is kind of hard to see because I have the camera tilted down, but they're both touching the desk, and the bailout is longer when fully deployed. But the bailout folds into itself because it is a folding knife. So it is something to think about is, would you want to carry a small fixie? That might be something that you might want to think about and look into as well. Let's see. True budget EDC and prepping. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for being a goddamn member. We appreciate that, man. Let's see, speed hoe or thumb hoe, whichever one you want to call it, Kraken. You know what I'm saying? I like either of the two. Make it either the two work for me. That Topps ferret is sweet. How does it feel in the hand? The Topps ferret is very, very nice in the hand, but because of the limited options for carrying this thing, I don't carry it. I don't carry knives on my neck. It's a neck knife. It's designed to be carried on your neck. I don't carry this shit on my neck. Okay. I normally would just throw this entire knife in my pocket and treat it like almost like a set of car keys. You know, you can't use a set of car keys unless you fully pull it out. So I understand if I pull this out of my pocket, I'm pulling it out, I'm unsheathing, and I'm using it deliberately. But I got a full tang goodness in this small of a package. I mean, I think this knife is smaller or almost the same length overall. So here's the Benchmade bailout fully deployed. This ferret is it's barely bigger. I mean, it's bigger obviously, but it's barely bigger than the bailout fully deployed. Well, we call it about 1.5 inches. So I like the ferret. I bought it at Blade, Texas last year. I'll be at Blade, Texas this year. If you guys are going to be there, make sure you guys look out for me. I'm one of 2 black guys that are going to be there with freaking dreadlocks, okay? I'm just saying. It's normally not a ton of us there. Let's see if I can use my lightsaber to relight this stick. Ah, there we go. There we go. Ladies, keep them entertained while I freaking relight this goddamn stick real quick. Okay, I appreciate you doing that for me real quick. No, I gotta get another stick. I don't smoke sticks that touch the deck. Hold on. All right, ladies, I appreciate y'all keeping them company. Get off that goddamn pole. No, really, get off that pole before you hurt yourselves. Make sure you hit that like button. All right, so we're going to smoke. We're going to light this other one. I just have this like strict rule that if my cigar accidentally falls on the floor like that one did, it's done. I don't smoke it again. So now I have a La Aroma de Cuba handmade imported stick. This will be the one I get lit now. And I'll just use my regular Zippo with a butane insert. RIP to the first one. Put RIP in the chat, man. RIP to that last stick. RIP. But let me know, guys, which one do you prefer? Do you prefer the fixies or do you prefer a folder? Which one is something that you're a little bit more down with? Me personally, I don't mind either the ones. What are you carrying today? I would love to know that as well. Let's see. Let me see if I got some more questions here. How many knives should you carry / battalion? I just normally carry, like physically, I normally only carry one knife. I normally only carry one. I guess technically two. Because today I have my knife that's in my pocket and also have the Free P4 multi-tool, which has a knife on it, right? So technically I'm carrying two, but I normally just carry one. Now, that's physically on my person. My tier 2, which is like a part of my sling or something like that, there's an EDC pouch that's normally in there. Today I rode my one wheel 6 miles. I went out to my post office. I went to a coffee shop. I did other things. So I wore a Go Rug bag. I wanted to see what that felt like on a one wheel. In the Go Rug bag was an EDC pouch full of some crap just in case my one wheel breaks down. And also some additional tools. Well, there's a duplicate knife in there and shit like that. So technically today on my person, I had 2 knives. I don't even know what fucking knife's in that pouch. But something to think about. But yeah, normally it's just a one knife is what I like to carry. I have a loadout of lights. I'm carrying the Through Night Archer Pro V2. Through Night has reached out to me before, but I haven't allowed them to send me anything yet. Best UK legal keychain knife. Any SAK that's knife is what I would say, Sam, but I'm a YouTuber with I would say check your local laws, but I will always recommend a Victorinox Swiss Army knife. So my favorite is the Huntsman. Check and see if the Huntsman is legal in your area. Maybe you can also check out the Rambler. But the Huntsman and the Rambler are my favorite SAKs. What is the best EDC flashlight? I don't know about best, David, but the one that has me by the goddamn balls lately, literally, has to be the Nikkor EDC 33. This thing, hashtag bars. This thing has had me by the freaking scrotum lately, and I am a big old fan of it. Pause. I'm just saying, I like to carry this all the time. 4,000 lumens, max mode, 1,200 lumen spotlight search mode. Has a lock on it, like a physical lock. This thing gets grandpa excited. I carry this thing all the time. This is my go-to for literally about the last month and a half. I'll test out something else and I always find my way back to this flashlight. It just has so many different modes, but hands down my favorite 2 things about this flashlight are the fact that it has a physical lock, so I can't accidentally turn it on, and that this thing knows that when you have it on a high brightness mode, so say, for instance, I have it on the super spot mode back there, right? You can see it's shining all in the back of the man cave. If I were to put my hand in front of that beam, which I'm not going to because that's like 4,000 lumens right now, it would automatically dim the light because it knows that an object has been placed in front of the flashlight. I love that technology. That's fantastic technology to let it be known that the flashlight knows that something is in front of it and it will actually come down and protect the item that has been put in front of us. So this is my favorite flashlight right now, but I prefer flat flashlights. This one just kind of has me by the balls at the moment. It's kind of hard for me to get away from it, but you know, we will continue to do that thing, man. Smoke them if you got them.
Smoke something, bitch.
You already know that's what I'm going to do for the next couple of minutes, man, as I continue to see what y'all are freaking carrying in y'all's pockets as well. I guess we talked about the this freaking lightsaber thing that I have. The name of it is called the Precision Jet Flame Lighter. I don't know. Precision Jet Flame Lighter. I guess we can see if we can look this thing up. Slender, long, fierce flame. Giggity. I like that shit. Slender, long, fierce flame. I like. Let me see if I can find this for you guys. This is called the Precision Jet Flame Lighter. It just reminds me of like a a lightsaber. I don't know. What would you call this thing? Is this it right here? Oh, it's right here. It's only, now shout out to, they sent this shit out to me. This thing is, it is $16. $16. Okay. I understand where this thing came from. I'll drop a link in here if you guys want to get this freaking ridiculous ass lightsaber. This ridiculous ass lightsaber lighter here. It is a dangerous boy. I will say that if it's something that you want to, I mean, it seems to hold the butane for quite a while, and I guess I can appreciate some stuff like that. Can you see it in this one, or is it too big? Not, it is kind of big. Yeah, I don't want to burn my whole freaking setup up, but this is what it looks like up close. It's like, it looks just like a freaking lightsaber. So I think that's pretty freaking cool. So check that thing out if you want a talking piece. I don't know if it could be delivered in your area by tomorrow. It says if I were to order, it wouldn't be here till Tuesday. So maybe to be delivered faster in your area with that link, just check it out. Let's see. We also have today you have the Hogue Deca and a small fixie on the belt for tier 1 on the body. Says True Budget EDC. I can appreciate that. RIP says pew pew to that first stick, man. It just made my heart hurt, man. RIP everybody in the chat. The real Chris Brown is here as well. Thanks for kicking the goddamn door in. A moment of silence for the fallen stick, sir. A moment of silence, everybody says. Should I bring the ladies out for the fallen stick so they can make me feel better? Do I have a karambit? No, I don't. And I'm the type of person, Gio, if I had a karambit, I would slice my goddamn fingers off, like hands down, okay?
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
I'm not about to practice and learn how to use the shit. It's no way, Boosie.
Hey, bro, come on now.
No, I can be gifted one.
Come on, man.
Still gonna be uninterested, okay? Still uninterested. Coyote's here saying, yeah, the ladies. Sometimes the ladies come out and make some stuff happen, man. Especially if I'm not gonna be talking for a second, then, you know, we always kind of make that stuff happen as well. Sun in the man cave. That's how bright this freaking light is, right? This Nightcore EDC 33 #bars. This thing is great. And if you do decide to go to the Nightcore website, it's the same price on the Nightcore website as it is on Amazon, but on the Nightcore website, use code 10 off and get 10% off. And thank me later. I've been carrying an Arc Flex for the past few months in the adjustable angle. It's so useful. Yeah, Alex, I did a video on the Arc Flex, and the Arc Flex is cool. I did a video on the Arc Flex versus the what is it? The Phoenix. Yeah, the Phoenix WT25R, the Phoenix WT. Is this another one right here? So I have quite a few folding flashlights. One of my workhorses here is the discontinued, but the Phoenix WT20R. I have its big brother, the WT25R. I like folding flashlights because they're super useful, especially with a magnetic base. But the Archer's just not ready for prime time, okay? These are real work lights. These do not fall off. If you need to use these one-handed, if this is on a surface, I can adjust this one-handed. The Arc Flex is not 100% ready for prime time because these flashlights don't pretend to be EDC. They don't want you to put this in your pocket. You can, but these work lights are literally, they want you to put them on your tool belt, in your toolbox, pull them out. If you're an HVAC technician, you're an electrician, you're looking inside of a compressor or some work like that on a house, that's when they want you to pull those lights out. Olight wants you to pull the Arc Flex out as an EDC light, and it didn't really work for me. I have it. I'll pull it. I'll revisit it again in a few months to see how I feel about it. Zach says I've wanted a Huntsman or like the slightly bigger Ranger, but I like the Farmer X and ALOX, but I don't know if I want to have the scale tools and score screw. Yeah, there's so many different SAKs. I have the I think you're talking about SAKs, right? If I'm not mistaken. So because I have the Huntsman, and I've never heard of the Ranger. I like the Huntsman. I have an ALOX 2021, and it's all bright orange. It's called the Tiger ALOX I got in 2021 and stuff like that. The CJRB Frac. I like CJRB. Their warranty's the thing that's kind of shitty. They warranty the human. They don't warranty the knife. So say, for instance, you sell that frac to another freaking Tom, Dick, or Jane. They don't warranty the knife. They want to say that, you know, who purchased it? You didn't purchase it. Okay, pound sand. I don't like that shit. I don't like that shit. I like companies that warranty the product no matter who has the goddamn product. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Fatherless. I'm sorry to hear that. Any cool lighters? Yeah, this freaking, we just talked about this jet lighter, right? But the lighter I normally keep in my pocket. So Chano's sponsored. They're not sponsoring this live stream, but Tisfa is a sponsor, and they send out their lighters. Their lighters have cutters built inside of them, so you can just grab the lighter. It has a cutter built inside. It's like an all-in-one solution. But my go-to is just a good old Zippo. Change out the insert for a butane insert if you smoke cigars. This is kind of my go-to versus a anything else. Have you ever absolutely loved any cheap knife? I have a cheap Kershaw I always gravitate towards. Oh yeah, I have a Kershaw Leak. It's not cheap. I think it's like 60, 70 bucks or something like that. But I love it. But one of my favorite knives is the Remit EDC pocket knife. I don't even know what it's 100% called. 14C28N. I have to sharpen it like once a month. But I love the way that knife looks. Front flipper, button lock, thumb stud, different ways to open it. It's fun to use. And it's like 50 bucks normally with a coupon. Here's my advice. If you don't own a pocket knife, don't use more than 2 hours of your pay to buy a knife. So if you make $25 an hour, you're thinking about getting into this game, spend no more than 50 bucks on a knife. If you're a baller, right, you make $100 an hour, spend no more than $200 on a knife, okay? That will kind of keep you grounded for a pocket knife. I guess I forgot to tell you what I'm sipping on. We're having a Ghost Cherry Limeade. Last time I had the Sweetest Fish. This time is a Ghost Cherry Limeade. I like Ghost because they extract the caffeine from coffee beans. So there's no sugar in it, but they extract the caffeine from coffee beans. So it's a little bit more natural. Let's see. That one is knife. I like the nice big clip. Yeah, the clip on the flashlight is fantastic. I think that's what you're talking about there. The Kershaw Blur is an excellent budget with plenty of options. Kershaw has tons of like knives that are fantastic, and then they got some knives that are kind of shitty, but they like got more bangers than not. I think Kershaw is like a step above Sincut, which is like Civivi and We Knives' lowest brand. They're a step above places, just CJRB. With CJRB and Artisan Cutlery, they put out some decent bangers, but most of their knives are super budget. Plus, I don't like their warranty process. So it just really depends. I have 13 SAKs. Man, you got me beat. I have like 6, maybe 7. Technically, a couple are duplicates. They're exactly the same. I gave my 14-year-old a SAK. Or no, she's 15 now. I gave her a SAK. So now I have a little bit less. What are your thoughts on the Vodseed Mini Shade? The Mini Shade, I don't think I've seen that one. Field trip. Let me look that shit up real quick. I know Vodseed sent me out their Thunderbird. And the Thunderbird is cool, but I wish the scales were a little bit thicker. But it is an M390 blade with G10 scales, and it's like $135. But you said the Mini Shade? That didn't pop up. Is it called the Mini Shade? Maybe I'm tripping. I'm on their website. I'm trying to look it up. Mini Shade. Oh, okay. Yeah. So this is the Mini Shade used to be called, well, it's called the Nightshade. I used to own the Nightshade. I didn't know they came out with a miniature version. I had no clue they came out with a miniature version. I like the Nightshade. If you're okay with a budget knife, I wish I can share my screen. I don't have that set up. But if you're okay with a budget knife, the Nightshade knives are super slicey. They're really good for like, if I need to cut my toddler some apples and some fruit and shit like that, because of the way that the full flat grind of the blade, I can use those to cut very easily. I gave my Nightshade to a buddy who didn't own a pocket knife at all, and I was going to give him a CRKT Tuna. Then I don't know where the hell my CRKT Tuna is, so I ended up giving him the Nightshade. It has G10 scales. I didn't know that they came out with a mini version. That's actually pretty freaking dope. It still has the 14C28N blade steel, so you're going to have to sharpen it a little bit more often than you would something that has a higher. But it still has stuff like ceramic ball bearings and, all that good stuff. And it allows for you to carry the correct way, which is tip up in your pocket. do you have an EDC knife sharpener in mind? Yeah, I have a, so TS Prof is my knife sharpener of choice, the Pioneer. And they sent that out to me for disclosure, but I own several sharpeners by Worksharp. They've sent me some, but most of the Worksharp sharpeners I have, I bought myself. I love the Precision Pro shit, whatever they call it, Worksharp calls it, but I don't like the fact you have to use their stones. And with the TS Pro Pioneer, you can use any stones that you want, any sharpening stones that you want. Betty says, are you behind the Sean? I don't know what that means, but no, I'm here. I use Norton stones. Yeah. I don't know which my favorite. I honestly don't have like favorite stones, True Budget. I just know just how I buy stones. I watch like Neves Knives or YouTube videos. I see what they suggest. I click on their link. I buy the stones. So are you behind the scenes at the show? Are you behind the scenes of a show? I don't know. What watch do you carry? So today I am rocking the VAR A12 Dirty Dozen. This is a pricey field watch. Okay. This is something that if you're already into watches, I would suggest you get something like this. It's a 36mm case, so it's not a big old fat watch. But I like VAR. I like micro brands. Presidis, VAR. Hamilton's cool, but they've moved their entire production to Switzerland. So the VAR field watch has been my go-to. And I like this a lot. It does have a Swiss movement in the back. And the thing about this Swiss movement, it does have a see-through case in the very back, which allows for me to take this thing off and admire the movement. That's probably my favorite part of this watch, is being able to admire the movement and kind of just take it all in. So as I reminisce and think about the freaking $900 this goddamn watch cost, it makes me feel a little bit better that that this is just kind of something I'm able to have and hopefully pass this down to my sons. Any of my watches, any of my knives and watches, I look forward to passing down to my sons quite often. What flashlight we talking about? I just hopped on. That was a Nikkor EDC 33 #bars. And for me, it's been my go-to flashlight for the last couple of months. I'm going to move away from it soon. Of course, I do EDC crap, so I have to eventually move on and test something else out. But when that day does come, I'm going to be a little bit sad. It will be a little bit sad. This thing has been, it's been fantastic. The pocket clip super aggressive, but because of the trousers that I wear, I have reinforced leather on my trousers so I can wear an aggressive pocket clip and I don't have to worry about that type of stuff. Yeah, guys, but hey, I appreciate y'all stopping by for another live stream. I'm going to go in here and get ready to help out with the kiddos, and hopefully y'all have already subscribed to the channel. If not, make sure you hit that subscribe button, join the battalion. If this is your first time stopping by, thank you for that. If this is not your first time stopping by, thank you once again for stopping by, watching me run my great. For everyone else, we'll speak soon.